this offseason with a little bit of hope. I had a little bit of pessimism in me, but just when you think Philadelphia was doing things right in terms of getting the coaching staff right and maybe some of the personnel stuff, you would think they were doing things right. But now all of a sudden, a bombshell breaking news hit comes out. And again, I'm recording this on Super Bowl Sunday, okay? It's like 12:45, 12:30-ish. That's when I started recording, give or take. And the news comes out that Haason Reddick has been given permission by the Philadelphia Eagles to go and seek a trade. And it's leaving me to wonder what in the hell is going on in Philadelphia right now. What in God's name is Howie Roseman thinking when it comes to the construction of this roster? Why in God's name is the best defender on the team, the best player, our best pass rusher, the team is just like, you know what? Go seek a trade, and if we find something good enough, we can live on without you. Makes no sense to me. Ian Rappaport has said the Eagles have given permission for Haason Reddick to seek a trade as he's set to enter the final season of his contract. So you're telling me there's no chance of you guys extending his contract to save money in the cap room for this offseason? That's what they're telling us. They have $20 million in cap space right now. If they re-sign Haason Reddick and re-sign Josh Sweat and they get rid of Kevin Byard, they could have upwards of $35 million going into this offseason in cap room. I mean, my God. I got so riled up, I didn't even introduce myself. My name's Asif Badi. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. And I was going to do an episode about what Britton Covey's comments were. I was going to talk about Fletcher Cox potentially retiring and going to the Steelers. I was going to talk about Jason Kelce. I was going to talk about free agent targets that Eagles can go after. But no. As I was about to record, I get the notification on my phone. I get the reading of Haason Reddick. The Eagles give Haason Reddick permission to seek a trade. And I had to completely do a 180 and give a live reaction on what's going on in my head as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. To me, this makes no sense by Philadelphia. In a year where your defense was horrific, objectively the worst defense in the National Football League, the one bright spot, or one of the few, on your defense was Haason Reddick, a guy who had thumb surgery in the beginning of the year, took time off, came back, and was a productive player, considering you had him do the things that he's not even built to do as a defender. You had his ass drop back into coverage when he's a pure bloodhound, a pure hunter, where he could just get after the quarterback, and despite that, he had 11 sacks on the year. But no, we're deciding, hey, you know what, Hassan, we can live life without you if you find a trade partner that benefits the Eagles. Go out there and seek a trade. Now listen, maybe, just maybe, this is just some weird, sick trick that Howie Roseman is playing to get an upper hand in contract negotiations. Maybe. But you know what this is also telling me? If I were Haason Reddick, this is the Eagles telling me, like, we like you, but we don't love you here. We can live on without you. And if you're entering the final year of your contract, why would I do anything to help Philadelphia if they're not going to give me an extension? Especially when the extension can help your team at the moment right now and give you cap space to address things on the defensive side of the ball in which you need help, like linebacker, like safety, maybe additional depth at linebacker. And it also doesn't shock me Now that I'm putting the pieces together here. And again, this is just my opinion. This is nothing that has been out there. But do you remember last offseason when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was seeking to get an extension for Philadelphia and wanted to be an Eagle for the next few years and wanted to get top safety money? During that stretch, Denard Wilson was up. Jonathan Gannon got the head coaching position in Arizona, and the people who were fighting for Denard Wilson to be defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles were guys like Darius Slay and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. None more outspoken, however, than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So not only was he outspoken about the fact that he wanted to get his money, and good for him, I support him in that endeavor, and the fact that he wanted Denard Wilson to be defensive coordinator and the fact that he deserved the job, which I agree with as well. Howie Roseman and the Eagles organization looked at him and said, you know what? You can go out there and seek free agency. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. And we decided not to give Chauncey Gardner-Johnson big-time money. But yet we decided to pay James Bradbury big-time corner money. We ended up cutting Darius Slay until he decided to restructure his contract to bring in, to help with the cap situation. So I mentioned this in an episode a while back about how Howie Roseman and his Eagles organization is looking to seek control. And that's their number one objective. And I'll put it in the, in the upper hand section somewhere over here. And I also mentioned in another episode, actually my last episode, that Howie Roseman, this is a make or break off season for the guy. And that he has to get this right in order for this window of Philadelphia, this rendition of the team, to go and get a shot at Lombardi once again. And I'll put it once again in the upper section here below. I keep hitting my microphone. I apologize. This idea to trade Haason Reddick, if this is going to happen, if Philadelphia is truly considering the idea of getting rid of our best defender, our best pass rusher, one of the leaders in the locker room, to go and seek a trade and to get rid of him for assets, makes no sense to me, especially when the defensive side of the ball is in such shambles. Especially when you're most likely going to lose Fletcher Cox. When you most likely will not re-sign Brandon Graham if he decides to come back. You're losing veteran leadership on the defensive side of the ball. And then you're thinking about Zach Cunningham, we'll bring him back. He's worth it. James Bradbury, we'll bring him back. He's worth it. And at this point, I don't even know if they're going to cut Kevin Byard. I got no idea. This idea, we get rid of Haason Reddick, makes zero goddamn sense. It's infuriating. He's had 10 plus sacks the last 3 years. Last 4 years. 10 with Arizona. He had a bunch with Carolina. And the past 2 years in Philadelphia, he's had 26 sacks. But no, we're going to decide to trade him. And it's also not ironic to me that during the 1-7 slide that we had, that Haason Reddick was one of the defenders who was really outspoken about the defensive coordinator change and the fact that the assignments are all out of whack. And how annoyed he looked when he was asked these questions about why he was getting dropped back into coverage. Almost like he was questioning the authority that was in the room. And if that's the case, and if my gut feeling is true, it seems to me like this Eagles organization didn't necessarily love that, and it's why they're letting him seek a trade. And if they do go ahead and pull the trigger on this trade, they better get a haul. And I don't know if you're going to get a super haul for the guy. And again, this is just breaking news. There is no, this is true raw reaction. This is literally minutes after this headline came out. So I got no idea what the rumor is or what the plan is in Philadelphia going forward here. And I don't know if this is just a way for Howie Roseman and the organization to get an upper hand in negotiations. But again, if the idea is true that they're going to let him seek a trade, all that is telling me and telling Haason Reddick is that, hey, Philadelphia, they like you, they don't love you. If you want to play ball and you want to toe the line and be part of this Eagles organization, you got to do exactly what we tell you to do. If not, goodbye. And if that's the message that they're sending to a guy like Haason Reddick, who's done nothing but give you spectacular elite production, what does that say to the rest of the guys on the defensive side of the ball? Especially when you consider the guys who actually are not as good. The guys who actually did suck this year. Like James Bradbury, like Zach Cunningham, like Nakobe Dean, like the linebacking room. Hell, you don't even have Haason Reddick as a defensive end. You have him lined up as linebacker. And even then he was your best linebacker on the team. No. We trust Zach Cunningham. We trust Nakobe Dean. We believe in his potential. We believe in James Bradbury and the guys that we have in the locker room. But Haason Reddick, you can go and seek a trade. Go ahead. Makes no goddamn sense. This is going to be a damn interesting offseason right now. And I'm, as an Eagles fan, I'm pissed off because I have no idea what to expect going forward. And again, maybe my tune will change as the week continues, but as of right now, if this is the idea that Howie Roseman has got going forward, let me be one of the first ones to tell you, this is a very, very bad idea, Howie Roseman, and you're off to a really rocky start in this 2024 offseason. Hey, you got through the full episode of the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, hit the like and subscribe button below. You can also check us out on Instagram at the Riding the Bench podcast with a K instead of C in the word podcast. And also check us out on audio platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. All of that is in the description below. Please come back next time for the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Thanks for listening.